Okay, so I'm making a short video to address a couple things. It's mainly, okay, so I don't know how far you can see, but to start out, I like to kneel. Down on your knees with your toes extended, so your ankles are pressed to the ground. I understand a lot of people can't do this, so for them, you gotta just sit in a chair. It might be good to have a low stool so that you're bent and getting a good stretch at the same time. Some kind of intro to getting your joints moving. The first thing I would do is start with my hands. Get some movement, circles both directions, a light stretch. Light stretch. I like this. Spreads open the fingers. I like all this roll. And then grab, leave the pointer and pinky. Do the splits with it on one plane. Spread open the fingers, spread open the fingers, spread open the fingers. All the fingers get spread open. Stretch them all out. Stretch them all out. Alright? I'll do this and this kind of at the same time. It's one hand position. Okay. That's just barely getting it moving. We are not even beginning. Okay. One important one is how far can you touch your thumb to your hand there, to your arm. Not many people can go all the way. If you can, you're a freak. Because I had to work at it. I've seen people do it who've never done it before. The opposite is a straight arm from underneath. You're grabbing your thumb and pulling it down while twisting open. So do the other side. So you're not trying to rip your thumb off, you're just trying to find that comfortable place. And every one of these stretches you should be doing in repetition. And each time when you come back to it, you should be giving it a little bit more because you should be able to get a little more out of it. So there's this that we did just a second ago, but then there's this, which is different. It's just more of a twist open. It's not down into it, it's open. And that leads up to this, which is how a martial artist will break your wrist real quick. So that being an easy way to break your wrist, that means it's real susceptible, which means put gentle pressure. Don't tweak on this or you will hurt your wrist. But doing this type of conditioning builds up your weak spot. Oh yeah, gripping, flexing, squeezing, engaging the muscle, being aware of that joint, putting intention to that, feeling it, feeling where the stretch is, getting all the way around the range of rotation to feel the stretch through the entirety of the movement of the joint. Oh, the straight back one. So when I do this, I actually, while I'm kneeling, I like to set it with my thumb into my knee so that it opens me up like that while I do it. My thumb right into my knee and lean into it, and it's fully extended straight down, so it's one direction. And any one of these stretches, you might see I do them pretty short, like 5 seconds or something, and that's like it's more of a conditioning range than a deep static hold. That one was longer because I was thinking of the word. But yeah, so for the most part, a lot of this stuff is with motion, with pop, with bounce, just quick. Not quick like, ooh, I pulled a muscle, but you don't hold it a super long time, right? Because in the beginning of any routine, you start with dynamic motion. Sure, you go a little bit to your range, and you don't hold it a long time. Towards the end of your routine, once you've lubricated all your joints and warmed up all your muscles, and you've reached a bit of your point of flexibility being stretched, then you go in on it. That's when you do your 30, 45 second long static holds. That's when you push to where you feel is the peak of what you're able to do before injury, if you're trying for progress. All your progress is made in that last bit, in that last 5 minutes of the hour, or however long you spend. The first time is preparing for that last bit so you don't injure yourself. If you don't warm up properly, you're doing more harm than good. So yeah, there was the back one. I'm gonna do that on the other side. Then that same posture, take it inward. See, when you do it this way, it's hitting up out here, especially once you engage the thumb. When you do it this way, it's hitting on the other side, right? And you could even turn it more inside and it'll hit it better. Some people will do these just flat on the ground, and they'll turn their arms into different postures to hit different parts of the arm. Up is really good too. If you could stretch straight up and pull it over, that way it lengthens everything down because everything's connected in one chain. So, I don't know how low you can. I'll go back a little further. So now for knees. Obviously, if you have bad knees, you probably can't squat real easily. I mean, ideally, first thing I would do is after letting the kneeling posture, I would do this for my knees and just let them sit for a while, and with a nice straight back, good solid posture. But I understand if you can't do that, what might be good is either having a stool to sit on. So yeah, you'd sit on a stool and just bend on the bad knee. Just get it bending and really work on the inside of that cup, the outside, inside, top, all around. Really work the crap out of it. And when you bend, be aware of where you're feeling the pain. Is it tightness? Massage on the tightest thing. If you can feel a string, a tendon, a fiber that's taking all of the weight, give some attention to that and be real careful with it. If you don't have a stool, or if you don't like that posture, you can sit right on the ground, take your bad knee, pull it up however far you can, and massage the crap out of it. So the New York City Ballet, the New York Ballet, has a video online that I feel is great for knees and hips and legs. It's their conditioning. I mean, they have like a 5-video series or something. They're great. They're like 2 hours long. And there's a lot of things you could be doing, just extending, sideways, any kind of stuff like this. Any kind of light movements for your knee, just to get your leg bending. That's the idea. If you're not bending it every day and being vigilant and working at it and learning what you need to do to have progress, then it's a learning process, and nobody knows the answers. It's your body. Your body's special, and you got to bring life to the area that is being forgotten about or is not being addressed the way it should be. So yeah, a lot of times I'll spend a lot of time in this posture in a day. So when you're in this posture, generally you want your back to be straight and you want to lean back, which means you have to tuck your hips in. You're not sticking your butt out, you're tucking your hips way in and leaning back. Okay. So now I really like the 5 animals, Wudang qigong. Here's my intro level interpretation of just a few of the postures and movements. One of them is dragon, which I really like. It's basically your feet are facing forward at a slight angle, the same slight angle, and this one, the one that you reach with, is more pointing forward. This one's more pointing that way, but they're both kind of in this general direction, and this is the one that's bent. So you want to keep your this part of your leg straight this way, straight, completely over your heel. You know, you don't want to overextend especially. This is where you start having knee damage. If anything, you'd overextend like this and not be able to get to straight. That's fine, but there's no reason to push it. Why would you push it? This is for healing. This is for physical therapy. This isn't for athletic. This is for daily foundation. So even just a little spread, one's a little straighter, one's a little more out, bend just a little. That's fine. This doesn't need to be an extreme push. So once you do this way, the side that you're leaning towards, you're opening up. So you're going to lean your hand all the way back on this side and put the other hand up. Now when you lean back, you want to lean it back and twist your hand open, because this is the way you're stretching. If you were to turn it this way, it'd be silly. So yeah, you're opening this way. Right? It looks silly just because I'm trying to show you. So it's back and up. And when you go up, this hand is turning and facing up and stretching open. So I like it more like this. So yeah, softer, gentler. See, qigong is a soft practice. It's not a hard practice. This isn't bench pressing. This is breathing. So yeah, usually they start qigong with a good firm stance, like feeling your posture into the ground being rooted, and feeling the stability, and just like yoga, it's all about posture. So you're essentially bringing your chin down, head back, head up, shoulders back, chest out, like butt in, posture. Feel that strong, rigid frame in proper alignment as best as you can, as best as you can push yourself. It's muscles that hold everything in place, so it feels like a workout to hold, but once you train yourself to feel this posture, that's how you sit relaxed, and it's no longer a workout because those muscles that hold you in that position are used to it. So feel that posture, even if it's a workout, and this is how they usually start. They go. So when I do that, charge I'm filling to full capacity. I can feel the life of the air charging my cells. I can feel the chills going up my spine and my hair raising right now, like you're energizing your body. And one component that is also not just with the air, and it sounds like some abstract spiritual thing, but also as if you feel your muscles in your stomach, in your legs, in your arms, compressing some imaginary rubber ball or something. You're bringing it in. You're focusing. They also do this. They go out. Let me see. Out and around and down. And to me, I genuinely feel when I'm pulling, I'm pushing, I'm grabbing and pushing, and pulling and squeezing. Like get into it. Feel the energy. Rolling your shoulders a lot engages the nervous system in your spine, which is usually where you feel the chills. So when you're doing this stuff, roll, activity in your spine. Okay, here's one other thing, which I should have said earlier. One of the first things people generally do, thumbs somewhere near your butt dimples or on your hips, wherever feels comfortable to get, and just lean into it, just a little bit. We're not doing the limbo, we're just getting a tiny, tiny stretch out of the hips. Yeah, that's an important one. That should actually be first thing you do before even kneeling, I think. All right, I'm getting so distracted. So yeah, what was I starting with? I think that's dragon, leopard. I don't freaking know anymore. There's that one. There's however low you can get square and just stick out in front of you. And when you're doing that, you're imagining posture, which you're actually essentially leaning back, it feels like, because you'd want to do it hunched over to feel sturdy. But then all the weight's on your the tips of your toes, you're leaning forward, it's bad for your knees. No, posture, lean back. If you have to, for any one of these motions, grab a counter, have a chair beside you. Use a pole. That would probably be easiest, is like a street sign or some kind of pole that's mounted. Okay, so here's another one. It's the crane. They generally start straight out, go around and back, and then stay for a while. That's really hard. If you could just go forward and turn your hips to point out, or you could try doing it a straight out side raise, but I think that the idea is the rotation for me personally. So I would go straight forward, straight out. You can do it as high as you're comfortable with, where you still maintain your balance. Again, keep a bar, keep a chair, do whatever you gotta do. So that's the crane. I generally like to do like 8, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So what was that? Yeah, there's tiger, crane, leopard, dragon. Okay, there's snake. Snake is a more difficult one for people to do. That is all the way down. And then they, go this way and then reach up. So that's not doable. But for relating it, what you're actually trying to do, like this is a strength building, posture building kind of thing. Snake, when you go all the way down, is letting it sit into the place where your flexibility is, where you're letting go of your muscles and letting it ride. So that's conditioning the peak of your flexibility, so that when you're fully extended, you don't hurt yourself. So maybe if you, again with the stool, you sit on the stool, a low stool, you put one leg out, right? You're sitting on the stool, and then lean forward into the ground, towards the ground, and just support however much you're comfortable. Only go as forward as you're comfortable. And this is opening you up. This is putting a stress on this straight leg that is really good. And it's also bending this hip to somewhere you probably, if you haven't done this sort of stuff, you've probably never bent like this before. So a lot of the theory that applies here is isometric holds, which is a lot of martial arts is more about postures. Not martial arts, but qigong specifically. This form of training, it's about you just get to that place and you hold. So this is an isometric hold, right? It's not a I'm doing 100 reps, and so like calisthenics and gymnastics, they have a lot of postures. You know, the iron cross, the whatever. I like that stuff too. I do a lot of that, and there's something that goes on. It's your I think it's called myosin and actin or something. There's like a muscle fiber bonding thing that goes on, and when they're in a fixed place, locked together, they develop a different kind of bond, and it really assists. I think type 2 muscle fibers, the ones that are for strength, which I mean, some people like to train for endurance so that they won't run out of energy after running all day. But for people who are like unsteady or who are trying to jump more, even though like things are often your motor skills, your light motor skills are dependent on your strength fibers, and that's developed most specifically when you do isometric holds. So yeah, there's isometric holds is one component of a lot of these postures, and then also in gymnastics they have straight arm strength, which people almost don't train at all in any gym I know. I don't know anybody who does other than a gymnast. So and I don't know any gymnasts. So they do things like when they do their arms are straight, way leaning forward. You know, this is one way they'll train their straight arm strength in their elbows. So this is essentially the same thing to this knee, training straight leg strength. And fully extended with weight on it is a really good way to develop a better walk, you know, more athletic ability. Not that I think anyone should be doing this anytime soon, I mean, without practice. So, let me see. Where were we? Yeah, a good wide stance and coming down. I'm not sure what else I should mention. Guess that's a good video to start. Good luck out there.